in case you confused it with Pittsburgh, North Dakota. Whoa, that police response was like instant. Usually takes at least a few minutes before cops arrive at a crime scene. Are you sure this is Pittsburgh and not Los Santos? Wait, hold up. As the getaway driver, you have one job. And this person didn't even have the van facing the right way? Do you know how many seconds you lose in a U-turn? 6 at minimum. Unless you're driving in Atlanta, and then it's 2, but also driving in Atlanta. This getaway driver sits in the idling van with her mask on and doesn't take it off until the cops showed up. Why does no one know how to mask correctly?
Get him off of us, man!
Using a minivan as your getaway vehicle.
Do something, Collie! Do something!
Be careful when you shout the words "do something." Like Molly Grew, you may not like the results.
We got these bastards now!
Premature celebration. That's your service. What the kind of motto is that for police? Isn't it usually protect and serve? They're cops, not waiters. Oh, there are more people with powers. I bet the episode dedicated to them this season will be really interesting and not feel like an out-of-place detour to Chicago at all. Making Madmax one word is making my OCD go max madness.
A police chase rocked downtown Pittsburgh earlier this evening.
You might think we'd let news position like this go since it's just in the background, but after She-Hulk, we've designated a new rule in our Sin Bible. From now on, all news position receives the patent-pending Wombo Combo.
I've got 4 quarters. What's your haul?
While you were scrounging around like a homeless bum?
I mowed old man Humphrey's lawn.
$5 for mowing a neighbor's lawn was pretty good money in 1984, but old man Humphrey paid you in quarters? That seems excessive, even for a senior citizen in rural Indiana. Regardless of the fact that Mike is looking for money, he still spent way more time perusing his sister's drawers than I'm comfortable with. Also, stealing.
Asshole!
Nancy is so upset that she chases him all the way outside. All that cardio and just a little bit of violence in the beginning would have saved so much time and effort. If the Hawkins arcade is this popular, how did there just happen to be a bike-free bike rack for the trio to park their wheels? This rack also only appears to hold 3 bikes. So what if Will had ridden a bike? It's bad enough he was kidnapped and held hostage by an actual monster for as long as he was, but you'd also take away from him the convenient bike parking at the arcade? Mike, Lucas, and Dustin are less the 3 amigos and more the 3 dickos.
Don't walk or bike home, I know.
Yes, but even if he was thinking about breaking the biking home rule, he doesn't have a bike for that action to take place, so I'm not sure I understand beating him over the head with a specific rule, Joyce.
Have fun.
Winona Ryder isn't my mom in this scene.
To slay the dragon, use the magic sword.
Okay, it's not often I get a chance to remove a sin for Don Bluth, and since that animation god is responsible for the childhood of millions of kids, I think we owe him one, so go ahead and take it off. But also Dragon's Lair. And yes, I know I've sinned it in the past, and I will sin it again if it ever shows back up, because Dragon's Lair was a huge waste of money, and the arcades knew it, and they didn't care. This is a cute scene, but you don't just rob my sister to watch someone else play video games.
Son of a piece of
Giving into video game rage. Why don't you try a more relaxing game, Dustin? I think Space Ace is over in the corner. That'll cheer you up.
Is it you?
You know I despise Dig Dug.
Despising Dig Dug? You, Keith, and your Cheeto-crusted fingers. Also, while I applaud the Duffer Bros on getting their 80s games and music right, this Cheetos Puffs bag has the wrong design. Crunchy Cheetos used an all-orange bag, but Puffs had a blue bag. Checkmate, Duffers.
I'm not prostituting my sister.
Bold of Mike's friends to assume he has any sway over who his sister dates. Could Elle hypnotize Nancy into dating Keith? Maybe. But she's totally dead and never coming back, so that's a moot point.
Acne isn't a rash and it isn't contagious, you prepubescent wasteoid.
Fun fact, there's actually a skin condition called acneiform rash. So you're half wrong, Keith. Either way, take this in and plan a trip to your dermatologist.
Did you make like what, like $2.50 an hour?
I sure hope not, Dustin. The national minimum wage starting in 1981 was $3.35. If Keith's making less and not a tipped employee, he needs to get with his local labor board.
Will, are you okay?
Oh man, we're picking on poor Will again. Kid's been through enough. Pick on Dustin for a change, or Mike. Will's gonna have enough trauma between season 1 and growing up gay in the 80s. Kudos for having an actual article on the page, but what's with this headline? What self-respecting newspaper editor would let something like this go to print? Article should say Hawkins prepares for Halloween celebration. Also, you spelled turnout wrong in the 3rd line from the bottom. It's one word. Did anyone at the Hawkins Post graduate from J School? Also, it's great the local newspaper in Hawkins was covering the Babyface story. She was the first person to have a heart transplant with a baboon's heart. But how did that story lose out to Hawkins' Halloween preparations as being the top story? Maybe Faye deserves better.
Got any proof on your butt probing aliens yet, Murray?
The aliens want to do butt stuff with humans joke was tired when Independence Day did it in 1996. It's beyond tired here. 2 cents for resurrecting the dead horse, killing it again, and then resuming your beatdown of its body.
Did you hear the one about the fat man with the beard who climbs down chimneys?
I did actually hear that story. I also heard it turned into a violent night. I'll leave now.
Wants you to check out his pumpkins.
Says they've been contaminated by his
Vengeful neighbor Eugene.
Oh, not the pumpkins. If you ruin those, it'll take even longer to make a golem. Getting enough iron is nothing compared to finding pumpkins. Those are always such rare spawns in my game.
Just gonna end up working for my dad anyway. His insurance and benefits and all that adult stuff.
And since it's the 80s, your dad's job might actually come with a pension instead of a shitty 401k scam.
Meets the human brain.
Too many kids in this class look excited to see a human brain model. And I realize it's only Mike, Lucas, and Dustin that are showing enthusiasm, but I mean, one kid would be too many.
Nobody calls me Maxine. It's Max.
Expecting your teacher to have your preferred name on the first day. Cut him some slack. He was in the middle of a mad knowledge drop about the cells of the human brain, and your introduction threw him off his jam. Seeing a Goonie make out with a Heather might be my favorite part of this episode, so this sin is on me. Sorry, all. I'll do better next time.
You're gonna get me fired.
Well, that's my master plan. Get you fired so I can hire you. We don't have to hide back here.
So Bob's master plan is to get Joyce fired so he can become her boss. And then if things go south with their relationship, she could sue him for sexual harassment in the workplace. That does not seem like a great plan.
You're coming to this.
Come and get sheet-faced.
The flyers I made for the TVSins annual toga party somehow made their way into the episode.
You're gonna be home by 8, listening to the talking heads and reading Vonnegut or something.
Treating the words of Kurt Vonnegut like they aren't worth spending an evening reading. I mean, did you even read Slaughterhouse-5? Jonathan could do a lot worse on Halloween night.
Yeah, girls don't play video games.
For the record, TVSins writers, Today and Courtney, are actively staring me down as I read this. Girls do play video games. Don't be a pig, Will. There, I said it. Can I please go now?
But her name is Max. So what?
I'm with Mike here. This is just 2 years removed from Madmax 2 The Road Warrior, so the idea that someone would use the name Madmax as a screen name, even though they weren't actually named Max, is not that hard to imagine. When did she have the time to write this note? How did they not notice? Does she just have these to go at the ready? Does she just get stalked that often? I have so many questions. This is high-level spycraft. Taking up 2 parking spots. I know that was a tight turn, but take a moment and angle your car right. Look, I'm going to say this every time. We do not need to see needles going into skin. Ever. We're more than happy to figure out in our head how vials of blood come from someone in a hospital bed. And you might ask, if they didn't show the needle and only the vials of blood, would you sin the fact that there was no needle to extract the blood? And the answer would be yes. Are the dots really necessary here? Can the nurse not hit the center of his forehead without a visual aid?
I need you to realize I'm on your side.
Damn it, Paul Reiser is so effortlessly charming. Regardless of how morally gray his character is, one sin off. I wish he handled all my checkups and asked me about my favorite candy.
Looks like another hot one today, huh?
Never gets old, sir.
This is the guy who goes to the supermarket and when an item doesn't scan at the register says, I guess that means it's free, right? It's me. I'm the guy. Nothing builds up suspense better than some CGI goop that's impossible to even make out what the it's supposed to be.
They're arguing.
This spying stuff is pretty creepy, guys. You know, part of me is thankful for the monsters and the Upside Down because if not, there's a good chance these kids would have turned into the guys from The Big Bang Theory.
This isn't strike 1. This isn't even strike 3.
And if it'd been my coach, be lucky to still be on the team.
Okay, the baseball analogy has kind of made sense up until this point, but what would Mike's being kicked off the team represent? You kicking him out of the house?
His finger looking good.
Okay, Stranger Things. Even I have a limit on how much product placement I want to KFC. I completely understand and approve of the shrine you've built for your missing, presumed dead daughter. It's a fitting memorial and it's heartbreaking. But why the photo in the bathroom? It's a bit much. And it's perched on such a skinny ledge, that's just reckless. Whatever solace the picture's bringing you in there will be gone the second you awkwardly reach for your towel and smack it directly into the toilet. And that'd be number 2 for her. Poor Barb. She deserved better. Cut from Nancy crying about her dead friend to Mike sadly packing up his toys. That is as f***ing weird of a parallel as it gets. Also, Mike's mom never said how big the boxes had to be. Totally missed opportunity to lawyer her by using shoe boxes.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Later.
I know it's the 80s and parents just threw their kids out into the wild and hoped for the best, but it's only been a year since the whole Will disappeared thing. Not to mention, these kids know there are actual monsters out there. I'm just saying I might not be taking too many bike rides by myself at night.
And I would rather be best friends with Zombie Boy than with a boring nobody.
Jonathan Byers isn't my older brother in this scene.
Who would you rather be friends with? Bowie or Kenny Rogers?
Well, that's not exactly a fair competition, and I doubt Kenny would stick around to see the results of that popularity contest. He knows when to hold them and when to fold them.
Mr. Mom. Woo! Perfect.
Getting this excited about Mr. Mom. I love a John Hughes scripted flick as much as the next guy, but it's no National Lampoon or 16 Candles. Thinking, I needed a scene of Will urinating. I didn't need to watch Will Smith pee in Independence Day, and I don't need to see Will Byers pee in Stranger Things. In fact, if I had a nickel for every scene of a male character named Will pissing, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's 2 more nickels than I wanted. Placing your loaded firearm on the table instead of immediately locking it in your gun safe. You've got a child living at home, Hopper. Make better decisions about your weapons. Look at 11, already learning bad habits from Hopper like wasting food. Next thing you know, she'll start smoking and being emotionally unavailable.
Dinner first, then dessert. Always.
When your evening meal is a microwavable dinner, I don't think you get to make any other nutritional rules. Those things are probably twice as unhealthy as the waffle. No one will be seated while Hopper and 11 are seated.
Lego, my Lego!
Alright, we all want things.
Okay, that's like the least fun game ever.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
I hate birds. They're so useless.
Do I have to purr?
Will, come on, talk to me.
I learned it by watching you.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little soul, too.